Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name's Tim. Today I'm going to be going over part 15 in the Project FPS tutorial series. So in the last part we went ahead and we got the bullet impacts working. So basically what that is just dust coming out of the ground and signifying where the bullet has hit. So we also added a alignment script so it aligns to the objects that it's hitting. But yeah, so if you haven't already, go ahead and check out part 14 so you can be up to date. But apart from that, we'll be getting straight on into this tutorial. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go down here to layer 4, and I'm going to go on the same layer that my dust spawn is at. So I'm going to press P and just double check that it is the right one. Then I'm going to press Shift A, add myself another empty, move it over here, and this here I'm going to call blood, and let's just say blood hit or blood spawn. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is go all the way over here to the same layer as my sort of bullet impact or the ground impact, so that right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift A, add myself a plane, move it all the way over here, and I'm going to rename this to blood underscore hit. Then what I'm going to do is go over to the material settings, click new, no specular, we'll choose alpha clip, turn off back facing, scroll down, no shadows, so turn all that stuff off. Then transparency, no alpha, go to texture tab, new material, new texture, image or movie, and then UV down here. Also scroll down and check alpha. Then I'm going to go ahead and open up my texture. So this will be down in the description below if you want to go ahead and get it. But again, I just easily put this together quickly in GIMP in about 5 minutes, so it's not hard to do if you want to go ahead and make your own textures instead. But apart from that, we're going to go back over here. I'm going to press Tab, U, and Unwrap in the 3D window, making sure I am in texture view so I can see it happening like that. And then what I'm going to do is press Tab, then I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate and press RY90. Enter, and then I'm going to press tab again, and we actually want to scale these out a bit, so I'll just press SY to scale them out, maybe something like that, a little bit more, alright, so something like that. Then what I'm going to do is select this right here, press tab to go into edit mode, basically just select this face here, or you can just go to face select mode, and then what I'm going to do is press RX 180 to rotate it on the x-axis, and that will just give us a bit of variation. Alright, so then I'm going to select this again, press tab to go into edit mode, vertice select, and I'm going to select the last 4 vertices on this side. Then I'm going to press S to scale them inwards, and we want to get something roughly like that. Alright, so that is looking good. Now what I want to do is maybe scale it in just a little bit, then press tab again to go into edit mode, A to deselect, A to select everything, and then GY to move it on the y-axis, and we want to move this all the way to just close to the end, so something roughly like that. Then tab to go out of edit mode, and there we go, there is our sort of blood hit going. So what I'm going to do now is go to frame 0, I'm going to press S to scale it down, so maybe something roughly like that, then I and insert scaling, then I'm going to go to frame 10, and just like here, I'm going to sort of spread it outwards, so frame 10 here, S to scale, and maybe something like that, and then S Shift Y to scale it on these 2 axes, so S Shift Y, and then scale it outwards, like so. Alright, and then maybe SY a little bit more. I and insert scaling again. Maybe we'll just sort of push it out a little bit like that. I insert scaling, and then frame 20, we're going to do what this one does as well, which just sort of extends it a bit more. So I'm going to go on frame 20, SY, just push it out even further, and then S Shift Y just a little bit, and then I and insert scaling. Alright, so we have our full animation that sort of just pushes it out like so. Alright, so maybe on this one I'll press S Shift Y, scale it in a little bit, I insert scaling, and then try that again. Alright, so that's what our sort of blood is going to look like. which is looking pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate the alpha. So we're going to go along to the materials tab here, and scroll down to the option settings and choose object color. Then we're going to go to the object here and scroll down, and then over here I'm going to on frame 0. In the object color I'm going to turn alpha to full, right click and insert keyframe, then go to frame 20 and turn off alpha. Now don't go to 0 completely, because since it's alpha clip, most of it disappears after 0.5 anyway. So do something like 492, or 0.492, or maybe, yeah, just something 0.45 or upwards. Then right click and insert keyframe. Then we can go back to the start here, press P, and there we go. So as you can see, the blood here sort of fades out. Now it does do it fairly fast, I think. So if you wanted to, you could, over here on frame 10, maybe just turn it down a little bit, right click, insert keyframe, and then just play it through again. Alright, but apart from that, that is looking pretty good as a sort of liquid blood hit of the enemy. So anyway, I'm happy with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is go to frame 0 so I can see everything. Then Shift A, add another plane, and this here I'm going to scroll up and call blood underscore mist. And then I'm going to move it all the way over here. Then I'm going to give it a new material. So scroll up the top, new material, no specular, and yep, that should be fine. Turn all of those off. Turn on transparency, no alpha. Give it a new texture, image or movie, UV, scroll down to alpha, and then I'll open up my other texture. So this one here, again, I just quickly made in GIMP, so if you want to go ahead and make your own, feel free to do so, but again, there'll be a link down in the description below as well. So either way, I'm going to go back into this window, tab U and unwrap to unwrap the texture. Then I'm going to go to the UV image editor and I'm going to scale it a little bit, so blood mist. Then I'm going to scroll in here and move it up a little bit, so something sort of like that. And we'll scale it in a little bit as well. So I'm going to select this right here, go to the sort of materials tab, and then I'm going to choose billboard, although if you want to, you can choose halo as well. Basically the difference is billboard just does this to always be facing the camera, so only sort of moves on one axis, and then if you change it to halo, it will sort of move it around like this towards the camera the whole time. I'm just going to do billboard for now, just in case, say, the halo or something sort of goes through the player a bit more. But again, that's up to you. So now we'll make sure we have the sort of face orientation correct. So I'm going to press P, and it is facing us just on the side. So what I'm going to do is press Tab, RY90, and then press Enter, Tab again, and then there we go. And it's facing us, which is great. Now, as you'll notice, the sort of side with the falling mist is, off to the side. So if we press P, it's sort of on the top. So I might go ahead and just slightly rotate this. So let's just say RX90. And press Enter, press P, and there we go. That's looking a bit better. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is go to frame 0, S to scale, make it nice and small. I insert scaling, go to probably frame 20, S to scale again, make it nice and big, then I and insert scaling again, and there we go. Alright, so now we need to animate the alpha as well, so go to Object Color, under the Material Settings, go to Object, and then we need to go on frame 0, right click, insert keyframe, frame 20, we need to turn off alpha, right click and insert keyframe there. Alright, so now if we just play through, it'll look something like that. Cool, so I am happy with that, with both of those. So now what I'm going to do is go back to frame 0. On my blood hit, I'm going to choose always, action, and then we always want it to play the action of blood hit from frame 0 to frame 20. Then we're going to select this one over here, blood mist, always, and then action, join those two together, and blood mist over here, and frame 20 as well. Alright, so those two are sorted. I'm going to minimize them just to sort of make it look a bit neater. Alright, and also if you have trouble, say, selecting this, it will be because this is sort of the back side, so it might not select as easily as the front side here. Okay, but regardless, I'm going to go back to layer 4 here with my spawn, or my blood spawn, and I'm going to add an always sensor and 2 edit object actuators. And then I'm going to join both of those up. This one, I guess, can just be hit, and that one can be missed. Then we'll choose the appropriate objects to spawn in. I'm going to just choose 25 instead of 20, sort of just to let them be in for a little bit longer. And then I'll minimize both of those, and now if we press P, there we go. We have our hit and our blood, which is pretty cool. So now only one thing we need, and that is for the blood to sort of be facing upwards. So we're going to select this, press RX90, press enter, Control A and apply a rotation. Go to layer 4 here, press P, and there we go. So press P here, and there we go, somehow that. Now you'll notice that the billboard is sort of having an effect here. It's only facing downwards, as it can only move sort of around Y. It can't move around X. So what I might do is select this here, and under the material settings, let's just choose Halo for now. So back to layer 4. And there we go. So it's facing us sort of from any direction. Now what I'm going to do is go back to layer 1, and we're going to start spawning it in. So the first thing I'm going to do is select my cube here. Let's just call this ground underscore hit underscore demo. And then Shift D to duplicate, make another one, and this one let's just call enemy. So actually this one we should probably just call let's just call it obstacle. And then this one here can be enemy, and on it, instead of ground, I'm going to add the property enemy. Alright, so I'm going to press numpad 0, select my camera. So what I'm going to do here is actually, before I do that, go ahead and add another ray. This, again, I guess we should probably call ray 2, and it's for the property enemy. And then what we're going to do is fire it on the negative Z axis, so that way, forwards, and then it's going to go, how far does this one go? 200. So let's just say 200 here. Then also on the other side, we're going to go ahead and add in an edit object, and this here is going to be our blood spawn. Now we need to leave that in just enough to spawn in both of our objects. So 5 should be fine, not 45, 5. And then now what we'll actually do is modify this script here so that it only works when these are going, but at the same time it will spawn in our blood hits when that is needed. So I'm going to go to the text editor, and instead of making a whole new script, we'll just go ahead and edit the current one. So we want to go to bullet hit, and then over here we want to import in ray 2 and this one here, which we should probably call blood. Then I'm going to join the blood to the impact and the ray 2 to the impact, and minimize both of those. Then over here we'll import in ray 2. So ray 2 is equal to c.sensors, and then ray 2, just how it's spelt over here. And then we'll scroll down a bit more. Actuators, we want to spawn in blood. Well, not spawn in, we want to import in blood. So c.actuators, and then blood. Alright, and then as you'll notice, this is all one big if statement. So that means this will only execute if all of that criteria is met. So now what we'll do is press enter and press delete to get rid of the increment. Go down here and make another if statement. I guess you could use else if, but considering there's so many other criteria, it probably doesn't really matter anyway. So I'm just going to do if to make it completely separate. So if ray 2 dot positive and clock flare dot positive, And we should probably just be able to copy and paste this actually. So Control C and whoops. Alright, we only need one. So in that, and then we'll do the OR statement as well. So Control C and then Control V to copy and paste that in, and just replace Ray with Ray 2. Because the rest of it should be the same. So then I'm going to press enter, and in here we want to basically just copy and paste this. So Control C, Control V, and then we will move this down a bit, just give it a bit more space also up here. And then we want Ray2 dot hit normal and hit position, and then bullet hole, instead of ground we want to have blood, and then also up here blood instead. Just make sure everything else here is fine, and that should be about it. Cool, so now I'll press P and we'll go ahead and shoot at that. There we go. That isn't looking too bad either. Cool, so we have our sort of blood hits. Now the blood mist might be a little bit large, so what I might go ahead and do is sort of tone it down a little bit. Also the sort of animation of the blood hit itself is quite big. So over here, frame 20, scale it down, maybe something like that. I insert scaling. This over here will scale down as well. I insert scaling. Now frame 10 we'll probably have to bring down as well, so scale Z, I insert scaling. Alright, so hopefully that didn't ruin too much of the animation. Let's just go to frame 0 and scale it completely down, so it's even smaller. Can do it for this as well. I insert scaling. Alright, back to layer 1, test it out. Oh, make sure you're on texture view. Alright, so something like that. Cool, so I am fairly happy with that. We sort of have a little spot to show the player where he's hit the enemy, and then we also have the sort of blood coming out like so. Now it might just be a little bit much for you, so again, we might just go back to this layer here and scale it down a little bit. So on frame 20, let's just press S 0.75, enter, I insert scaling. Then go to the next keyframe, so frame 10, or just down arrow to go to the next one. S 0.75, enter, I insert scaling. Next, S 0.75, enter, I insert scaling. Alright, so this one I guess as well, a little bit more. And 20 is actually, I think the size of that was fine before. Alright. So let's just try that out by itself. Alright, and there we go. So maybe that's a bit more appropriate, considering that last time was like a whole bucket of blood fell out. Alright, but somehow that should be good. Again, if you want to keep tweaking it to something that will better match your needs, feel free to do that as well. Also, if you want to add sort of more blood elements or have, I don't know, more pieces of blood coming out or something, then feel free to do that as well. So either way, there we go. That is the blood impact done, which is pretty cool. So what we're going to do next is we're going to quickly be adding in our bullet holes. So that's sort of something I forgot about last time and nearly forgot about this time. But we're going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to go back to my sort of elements layer, and it's the bottom left hand corner one. I'm not sure what number that is. Anyway, we're going to go to the middle here, Shift S cursor to center, Shift A, and we're going to add ourselves another plane. Move it over here, and let's go ahead and call this ground bullet hole. So it's probably ground hole. Let's just say ground hole. And then what I'm going to do is go over here, new image, no specular, and then we're going to turn all of these off. Then transparency, turn off alpha. Then we're going to go to the texture tab, new material, new texture, image or movie, and then UV, alpha, and then we're going to click open. So over here is a texture that I've quickly made. Again, if you want to, you can go ahead and make your own in GIMP. Very easy. Basically, you just have a black circle, and then you draw a white circle around it, then use the smudge tool and just sort of push all the sides outwards. So yeah, very, very straightforward to do. But again, this will be down in the description if you'd rather go ahead and just use this. So, yeah, that should be fine. In this window here, I'm going to press Tab, U, and Unwrap. And there we go, there is our image. So I'm going to go to the UV image editor, press Tab in this window, and we'll go ahead and select the bullet hole texture. And we'll scale it in and move it across like that. Alright, so somehow that should be good. So then what I'm going to do is go over to this layer here, and actually, we want to go over here to this layer, numpad 0, select the camera, and we want to go into our bullet hit script. So first of all, I'm going to add another sort of edit object actuator, and in here we're going to rename this to let's just say bullet underscore hole, and then move those two under, join that in, and then in here what I'm going to do is add in my bullet hole. So bullet hole, if that's what I named it, no, ground hole, there we go. And however long we want it to last, we put in here. So 60 is 1 second, and 360 is 6 seconds. So let's just do that. Then I'm going to sort of minimize that, go over here, text editor, and in here we're going to go ahead and add in our normal bullet hole. So then what I'm going to do is just quickly sort of copy this here, Control C. One line down, Control V to paste. I'm going to call this ground. Well, it's not even called ground, is it? It's called bullet hole, and we need to import that in. So bullet underscore hole is equal to c.actuators. Oh, I did not spell that correctly. Actuators, bullet underscore hole. And then what I'm going to do is scroll down over here. Instead of ground, we're going to do bullet hole. Alright, and bullet hole, that should be fine. Let's just call this one bullet hole 2, and this is going to be bullet hole dot object last created. Alright, so we'll need to copy and paste this as well to get it working, so let's just put that as a line underneath and rename this to 2 for bullet hole 2. Align axes, normal vec. Yep, that should be fine. 2, 1. Space. Now the space here we defined as 0.3, which is quite a bit. So let's just go ahead and change it to 0. Yeah, something like that. 0.03 or just 0.3. Nah, there we go. Something like that. Alright, so magnitude, that should be fine. Bullet hole dot world position, again bullet hole 2. And that should be fine. So that should be all of it done. So now, if we press P, we should be getting bullet holes. Right, so there's a little bit of a problem with our naming here, and that is just the bullet hole here is sort of interfering with this here. So let's just call this ground hole again, like we did before. So ground hole is equal to c.actuators bullet hole. Alright, and we'll just quickly go ahead and replace the names here. So this will be ground hole, ground underscore hole. I'm just going to copy this name, Control C, and then bullet hole 2, that should be fine. And instead we're going to put this in here, ground hole, and bullet hole dot align axes. That's sort of for the first one, so let's actually cut that out and paste it over here. Control X to cut and Control V to paste, if you didn't already know. So just sort of quickly working around with this. Ground hole, bullet hole 2, that should be fine. Bullet hole 2, yep. Alright, so hopefully that is it. We're going to give it another try. And there we go. Awesome, so we got some nice bullet holes appearing. Obviously they are really big, so let's go ahead and change those up. So let's go to layer 4, scroll out a bit, oh, wrong one, bullet hole layer, there we go, S to scale, make it nice and small, maybe something like that. Alright, and yeah, back to this layer, numpad 0, P, and there we go. Alright, so that's looking a little bit better. Maybe even still a bit big then, so let's go back to this layer, scale it even more. Try that one more time. Again, these sort of things are very tweakable. You can spend ages on it to get it looking right, but hopefully something like that will do. Alright, cool. So now we have bullet holes appearing on everything. Alright, and just because we have these bullet holes working, I thought why not make some for the enemy here when we hit them. So what I'm quickly going to do is open up GIMP here, and I'm going to go to File and Open, and I'm going to find my bullet hole texture. So bullet hole. That one, was it that one? It was one of those ones. There we go, this one. Then I'm going to click Open. I'll load it in, and then what I'm going to do is go to colors. We're going to colorize it, and let's just choose red, because it's meant to be blood. We'll saturate it, and turn the lightness down a bit. Cool, so something like that. If you want to add a little bit more color to it, I guess why not. So somehow that might be a bit better looking than before at least. Okay. Again, because it's like a proper wound, it's not going to be pitch black inside, like with the ground or something. But again, yeah, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to export this as bullet hole texture underscore blood, and then just export it out. Alright, again, you can spend more time on these. But anyway, we're going to close that, we're going to go back over here, and we're going to do the same thing down here, but with our sort of blood bullet. So let's go to our elements section. I'm going to select this, Shift D to duplicate, GX, and let's call this body underscore hole. Then I'm going to go to the materials tab, scroll up, choose the number 2. So we'll go over here, we'll press the number 2 here, so we have a new texture, and then open up another one. So let's go to our document where we exported it and choose body or bullet hole. There we go, the blood one, and everything else should be fine. So now what we'll do is go over to layer 1, so numpad 0, select this, and then go to edit objects, join that in, and then in here we'll do blood underscore hole. Alright, so in here, body hole, and 360 seems like a good value. 360, alright. Maybe a bit longer for the enemies if they have lots of health, but otherwise that should be fine. And then in here, again, we're going to have to import this in. So over here, body underscore hole is equal to c.actuators body underscore hole. Alright, so, oh, that was called blood hole, not body. Alright. Then what I'm going to do is sort of what I did last time, copy and paste the second bit down here, and then instead of blood we're going to have body hole, I think. Yep, so body hole dot instant objects, just make sure I sort of spelled it right. Let's copy this, Control Z. We want to go down here, and instead of bullet hole we're going to call it something else, so just replace blood here, and bullet hole 2 maybe. Let's just say bullet hole 3 for now. That can be bullet hole 3, and yep, I think that should be fine. Alright, so we have body hole, and there we go. So now if we press P, there we go, we now have sort of bullet hits where we have hit our enemy. Now you'll notice there is one problem, they are sort of elevated by quite a bit. So you'll notice the space between the enemy and it is quite large, and that's because this is on space. So let's go ahead and turn off space, and again 0.03. Alright, and that's looking a little bit better. Okay, cool, so I am happy with that. If you want to go ahead and change the sort of brightness of the bullet holes, or maybe the brightness of the blood, feel free to do so. But apart from that, I think that should be about it. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, let me know with a like or comment down below, and be sure to subscribe to stay updated for tutorials if you haven't already. Anyway, hope you're enjoying the series. Next time, what we're going to do is we might get into making grenades or blood on the screen. I haven't decided yet. So either way, you can look forward to that. But yeah, so anyway, hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.